Despite the panicans and the morons losing their absolute minds over this, I was vindicated and they were all wrong. Donald Trump just made this tweet. Iran has informed us that they're in a state of collapse. They want to open the Strait of Hormuz as soon as possible. Remember how they were like desperately trying to close the Strait of Hormuz? Things change when you get blockaded, I guess. You get cock blocked. You get Trump blocked, as they say. As they try to figure out their leadership situation, which I believe they will be able to do. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We'll see what happens. Ultimately, time will tell if they actually, win this war, like all the retards say. In fact, I've been so vindicated about this war. This dude made a 2-hour-long video chimping out, screaming about how right I am about the war, hoping about how actually Israel is trying to trigger an end times World War III to end civilization and enslave the Goyim with red cows. Also, Iran is winning the war, despite losing their entire military and all of their leaders. Also, Trump was very mean for killing pedophiles, but Hitler was right about the Jews. Man, those 15K views on the video must have been really worthwhile, my guy. Anyway, so breaking news, Islamic Republic has begged the Americans to resume talks in Islamabad tomorrow. Wow, that totally sounds like people that are desperately winning the war. Look how badly Iran is winning. They're winning so much, they're begging America to resume talks. In fact, they're winning so much that Trump said, I canceled the trip of representatives to go to Islamabad, Pakistan to meet with the Iranians. Wow, it sounds like Trump is really desperate to end the war. Too much time wasted on traveling. Too much work. Besides which, there is tremendous infighting and confusion within their leadership. No one knows who's in charge, including them. Also, we have all the cards. They have none. If they want to duck, all they have to do is call. Wow, sounds like someone so desperate on his hands and knees to end this war. Oh my god. So anyway, this is President
Fox
Trump
News
basically saying, all right, we are canceling our trips to Pakistan. We don't need to negotiate with them. We're in no rush. We blockade them. They die and gargle in their own blood slowly but surely. It's very effective. And if they want to actually submit to all of our demands, they could at any time. But we're not wasting times with trips and negotiations.
Fox News exclusive. President Trump just told our own Aisha Hasni that he has canceled his envoy's trip to Pakistan to hold talks with Iran.
Wow.
Aisha Hasni sending
Colossal W for everyone that doesn't have to go to Pakistan.
us this direct quote from the president. I've told my people a little while ago they were getting ready to leave, and I said, nope, you're not going to make an 18-hour flight to go there.
That's my guy. We are not wasting our time going to fucking Pakistan. Okay, we're not doing that. All right, if they want to make a deal, they can submit to literally everything. If they don't want to, then we'll keep the blockade and they'll keep dying.
Have all the cards. They can call us anytime they want, but you're not going to be making any more 18-hour flights to sit around and talk about nothing. Now, this is significant.
Just completely based.
It came after the trip earlier in the week where we thought the Vice President J.D. Vance would be going.
We thought we were going to go to Pakistan, and Trump is like, I actually don't care. I actually don't need to do this. We have all the cards. They're dying slowly but surely. They could keep dying or they could surrender, which is awesome, actually. Now, my stance on warfare is very different than like most of the pussies. The pussy stance is, oh, but the poor Islamic terrorists that are occupying Iran, the poor Islamic terrorists. Please make some sort of deal. I don't care about that at all. I want them all dead or surrendered. That's how war ends. All right. The way war ends is they either submit completely to all of our demands or they die. That's how it works. That's how wars always work. That's how war still works. A lot of people put on suits and now make believe that they're better people than that. They're so much better people that they're going to let the terrorists continue to terrorize people and get away with shit. Nope. Actually don't care. And Trump is totally right about this. That is not how morals work, actually. Morally, when a war ends, when you win, you win. You don't just basically let them get off scot-free because they're being annoying and you're under pressure from libtards. All right, Trump sent a direct message to a New York Post reporter currently in Islamabad. Come home. He just texted him, come home. Oh, my God. Iran sent the U.S. a new offer 10 minutes after Pakistan talks were canceled. Wow. Wow. Crazy how that keeps happening. Just in, Iran reportedly only has 12 to 22 days left of unused oil storage. Now, this is because of the Trump blockade. Trump has this blockade. They can't send out their oil. They're slowly but surely amassing oil. And at some point, it'll do untold damage to their shit when they're just out of space completely. Sounds like they have Trump right where they want him. It's honestly incredible. Even Netanyahu, I had an excellent conversation with President Trump. He's pressuring Iran very hard, economically and militarily. We will see what happens, obviously. No one knows. It's still up in the air. Of course, the Pope is carrying around a photo of a Muslim boy who welcomed him to Lebanon.
Io porto con me una foto di un bambino musulmano
I carry around the child of a Muslim boy.
che nella visita in Libano
Kind of weird that he doesn't carry around the photo of Christian boys that are getting killed by Muslims all over the Middle East, but all right, listen, man, yeah, not my business.
stava lì aspettando con un cartello dicendo benvenuto Papa Leone e poi in questa
And
ultima
in the latest phase of the war, he was killed.
parte diciamo della guerra
That really is heartbreaking. Except the boy's alive. The one slight issue with this narrative is that he wasn't killed, and this is literally just propaganda. But hey, what's the problem? What's the problem? The first group of Indian migrants claiming to belong to a lost biblical tribe have arrived in Israel as part of an Israeli government relocation program. Now, Mehdi Hassan freaks out and says more indigenous people returning to their land in Palestine. You see, this is funny because there's no such thing as Palestine. But the even funnier part is, like, this dude is pro-migration literally everywhere. Literally everywhere. The Pope, when asked his stance on migration, I would change the question. What is the global north to doubt the global south in a situation that forces them to migrate? My answer is actually not my business at all. They don't need to come into our countries, actually. That's my stance. And Mehdi Hassan, legend. Wow, the Pope is so based for getting the browns to move into the countries of the whites. That's how it works. It's pretty, what a legend. So it's pretty awesome how this dude totally and unequivocally supports infinite third world migration into white countries. But immigrants in Palestine, whatever that is. Anyway, so it gets even hairier. It gets even hairier. So Reza Pahlavi, all right, so this guy, the GOAT, all right, the exiled prince, dropped a truth nuke on Europe.
I have spent the past several weeks traveling across Europe, speaking to members of parliaments, governments, and the press. My visit had one objective: to give a voice to the millions of Iranians held hostage by the Islamic Republic.
All right, it's pretty
its
noble.
terror and its internet blackout. The millions of Iranians who have been silenced.
That's a genocide.
But I can now say with confidence that silencing, that censorship, is not just happening at the hands of the regime in Iran.
Oh, shit.
But by the international and particularly the European media.
There it is.
So I want to speak directly to the people of Europe. In the past 2 weeks, I have had 2 press conferences, one in Stockholm and one yesterday in Berlin. Between them, more than 150 journalists attended. We spent more than 2 hours together. And in those 2 hours, not a single of the 150 journalists asked me a question about the 40,000 Iranians
that is actually crazy.
on the streets of my
that
country.
Is actually crazy.
On January 8th.
That should radicalize the shit out of you. All these leftoid journalists that are constantly pushing their human rights slogans and their activist garbage and how Trump is a dictator and how you need infinite brown migration and deporting them is a violation of human rights. All of these dipshits are complete and utter, not only hypocrites, but they're evil. They're actually just evil. That's insane.
8th and 9th.
They stand for absolutely nothing. Nothing. You know, it's like the same, it's all the guys that are freaking out. Oh my God, I can't believe Trump isn't arresting pedophiles in the Epstein files. My guy, I have fantastic news. Trump killed a regime of pedophiles in Iran. Fantastic news, guys. No one seems super excited about that, though.
Not a single of the 150 journalists asked me about the 19 political prisoners
That's crazy.
executed in the last 2 weeks.
That's actually insane.
When I told them that there were 20 political prisoners currently sentenced to death, not a single one of the 150 journalists asked me about them.
This should radicalize the shit out of you, man.
When I stood next to a mother whose son was killed and a father whose son was killed on January 8th and 9th, and asked them to hear their stories, not a single one of the 150 European journalists asked them a question. Here,
it's almost like they're just
in the heart of a
they're completely owned by Islam. It's crazy.
Continent that claims to stand for human rights,
of course,
justice, and dignity. Its journalists have fully abdicated their professional responsibilities, and even their moral objectivity. It is clear to me that my 40,000 brave, innocent compatriots who were slaughtered in the fight for liberty are of little interest to these journalists.
Just completely true.
They
don't care at all.
More interested in criticizing America.
That's right.
Asking why
That's right.
the United States
That's right.
and Israel killed the dictator.
That's right.
That has slaughtered
our
people for 47 years.
It's almost like they just hate God. You know, I've come to the conclusion that they actually, this is a war on God. They hate Western civilization based on biblical values, and they're doing everything they can to import infinite retards and barbarians and destroy us. All right, and it's almost like that fits every single one of their policies.
Than criticizing the regime doing the slaughtering. They seem more interested in asking questions about Iran's past and history than about what is happening in Iran today or about the democratic future Iranians are seeking. One member of parliament even told me they didn't think Iranians were ready for democracy.
Wow, dude.
But to that member of parliament.
But you know who is ready for democracy? 1 million Pakistanis that we are importing into England today, ladies and gentlemen.
To those journalists, I remind you, Iranians aren't just ready for democracy. 40,000 people just gave their lives for it.
Damn, bro.
And I won't let that be in vain. So know this. Whether or not Europe stands with us, whether or not your journalists do their jobs, whether or not your politicians demonstrate the courage to act, I will fight for my people and my country. Even if we have to do this alone, we will fight until Iran is free.
Damn, bro. That is crazy. So anyway, this one post alone, this one tweet, as you can see, it already has 11.4 million views, which is pretty insane, actually. And Donald Trump is echoing this ideology. The Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. He doesn't know what he's talking about. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, the whole world would be held hostage. I am doing something with Iran right now that other nations or presidents should have done long ago. No wonder Germany is doing so poorly, both economically and otherwise. President Donald J. Trump, bro, is dropping straight nukes. And the world is waking up to the absolute cucked, immoral, bullshit behavior of the Eurotards, of the radical, honestly, it's not even the Europeans' fault. It's the radical leftoids that are running this whole shit show. All right? So German reporters, in fact, asked him, are you an agent of Israel?
Now I see. I have a personal question, since we can see outside that you...
By the way, German reporter in quotes, because it's probably a Muslim guy, immigrant.
Here with the help of the lobby group Europe-Israel Press Association. The Israeli government supports you taking over in Iran, and the same government, that's the same government that started...
Wow, I can't believe the Israeli government wants the guy that's beloved by the Iranian people to take over as the leader of Iran instead of the dictators that are slaughtering people in the streets and organizing terror organizations across the world. Wow, I can't believe this.
A war of aggression against your country with the U.S.
It's not a war of aggression against this country, all right? It is a war against the Islamic regime that's occupying the country for 47 years, massacring their own people, trying to build nukes to fucking kill us, bro. Hello? Hello?
So many people around the world...
If it was a war against their country, would have dropped the nuke on them. We didn't do that, because the war is not against the Iranian people. It's against the dictators.
Think that you are an Israeli asset. Are you?
Of course not. But I'm a friend to Israel and the Jews, and I tell you why.
Get ready.
Because again, as a descendant of Cyrus the Great, we take pride of the fact that the very cornerstone of human rights happened at the time that Cyrus the Great, through his cylinder, which is displayed worldwide, that is referred to in the whole of nations as the United Nations, was what coined the very principles of liberty when he freed the Jewish slaves in Babylon and helped them rebuild their temples in Jerusalem. Iranians and Jews have a biblical relationship.
Get ready for this.
In fact, the only two countries that can claim that. In modern history, Iran wasn't the only country in the Middle East that harbored Jews that were escaping Hitler and his regime.
Bro is in Germany right now, by the way. The guy's like, hey, are you an agent of Israel? And the Shah's response is no, but my grandfather refuged them while you guys were burning them in ovens. Literal. Oh my God. Oh my God. This dude has like actual balls of steel. That's insane. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Now, Israel sent Iron Dome systems to troops in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, during the Iran war. You know, one of the things that everyone keeps saying is, oh my God. Oh my God. Trump is causing all forms of destabilization everywhere. Meanwhile, you have the United Arab Emirates and Israel sharing weapon technology. Hello? Hello? The Abraham Accords prove that Israel is a reliable ally, that it is not a threat. This is coming from one of the top speaker guys in the United Arab Emirates. All right? Now, here's the craziest twist of the day, and this is like, this shocked the shit out of me, I'm not going to lie. I did not think this would happen. The UAE just exited OPEC. Oh my God! Iran's decision to attack its neighbors is facing consequences. So OPEC is the oil organization, basically a cartel that monitors how and marks how much oil different countries are allowed to use and sell. So the United Arab Emirates, OPEC's third largest oil producer, announced it will leave OPEC and OPEC Plus effective on May 1st. The move would free the UAE from the cartel production quotas. They're not scared of Iran anymore, allowing it to pump oil at full capacity, set its own export strategy, and price crude without group restrictions. So one of the things OPEC was doing was artificially increasing the price of oil, because you know they have different farmers and shit, all have the right to have an opinion and whatever, which is an obvious mistake. People with the rights to opinion, that's crazy. Anyway, that could pave the way for higher UAE output, stronger state revenues, and downward pressure on global oil prices. Lower prices and increased supply would likely be welcomed by President Trump, who has long criticized OPEC production limits and called for cheaper energy. This would make energy cheaper worldwide, actually, because this basically makes an entire gigantic stream of oil now completely out of the hands of the oil cartels. And now Iran's value also degrades a lot because the UAE is filling that spot. Now there's going to be a lot more product in the market, a lot more supply, therefore demand goes down, and therefore prices go down. Which is insane. UAE leaving OPEC is a very big deal. OPEC produces 40% of the oil supply in the world. As a cartel, they dictate production, meaning oil prices. UAE is the third largest. They have the Fujairah pipeline, which totally bypasses Hormuz. By exiting OPEC, the UAE breaks the cartel that is keeping oil prices high, unlocking 1 million extra barrels per day. This blockade is changing the world, and of course, Donald Trump goes after his critics a little bit in a very tasteful way. Candace Owens' stock, which was never very high, has fallen a long way. Her attack on the First Lady of France is despicable. I believe in this case, without verification, she is extremely low IQ. True, Mr. President. You're so real for that. Now, Marco Rubio has been dropping truth nukes all day because things are going swimmingly.
Suffice it to say that the nuclear question is the reason why we're in this in the first place. If Iran was just a radical country run by radical people, but, you know, it'd still be a problem. But they are revolutionary. There's no doubt in my mind that at some point in the future, if this radical clerical regimes remain in charge in Iran, they will decide they want a nuclear weapon.
And obviously, they literally say it themselves. Like, they openly state it. They have 60% enriched uranium, which obviously can only be used for nuclear, for weapons. So the reality is, they're going to die. That sucks for them, I guess. But, you know, what can you do? What can you do? So, Mr. President, this is one of the funniest things in the world. They're like, let's make a deal. The president's, all right, we're not going to Pakistan. Fuck Pakistan. Fuck your deal. And they're like, okay, we have a better offer.
On Iran, as you're figuring out who is in charge, if the hardliners or IRGC-aligned leaders have greater power in Iran, can the U.S. make a deal with those factors?
Whoever's running the show.
Are we communicating with those factors?
Deal with whoever runs the show. They don't know. They are fighting with each other. There's tremendous infighting. They're probably fighting for leadership. In many cases, I think they're fighting not to be the leader because we knocked out 2 levels of leaders. But I'll deal with whoever we have to. But
they're fighting to not be the leader. Lots of job openings these days.
There's no reason to wait 2 days, have people traveling for 16, 17 hours. And we're not doing it that way. We'll do it when they want. They can call me. We have all the cards. We've won everything.
That's right.
We have all the cards.
They have no military. Their economy is dead, like dead, literally. All right, they're imploding. The blockade is preventing them from any sort of future until they make a deal or surrender. And that's what we're waiting for, man. And it's inevitable.
Yesterday you said to Reuters that we're dealing with who is in charge now. What changed from yesterday to today?
Nothing. It's just that they gave us a paper that should have been better. And interestingly, immediately when I canceled it, within 10 minutes, we got a new paper that was much better.
Yeah, it's pretty awkward how that keeps happening. Pretty weird, actually. He'll get what he wants at the end. All right, listen, man. Iran has never won a war, but they've never lost a negotiation. But they're dealing with a different beast now. A great orange beast.
Iran, as you're figuring out who is in charge, if the hardliners...
Yeah, so he's been dropping nukes, and I don't think he's just gonna roll over and let Iran get away with more of their heinous bullshit. Honestly, killing pedophiles in Iran is fucking awesome, actually, and I actually don't care about what people have to say about it. My incredibly hot take is I pay a lot of taxes. My taxes go to the government. The government uses that money on a billion things that I don't support. Like foreign aid to foreign countries. Yes, every foreign country. I don't want to be paying them for shit. I don't want it to go to welfare for people that don't deserve it, don't need it. Illegals, healthcare for illegals especially. I don't want it going to Somali leering centers. I don't want it going to all these universities that are grooming children into their poisonous ideologies. All these public schools where you have trans teachers teaching kids to shoot politicians. The way I see it, if my tax dollars go to killing pedophile terrorists across the world that are trying to nuke us, yeah, I could live with that.